Hi, everybody. All right, so this is a lot. All right, on around November of last year, I went to my primary care doctor, and he knows that I've been struggling with weight like forever. And we've tried so many different things throughout many years. But this time he said to me, okay, well, you're pre diabetic. And in 6 months, you're probably going to have diabetes. And I'm like, what? Um, and that my and even though I've been going to the gym and even though I'm trying to eat healthy and I'm going to the gym every day, I step on the scale at the office, and I'm 269 pounds. So I'm like, what the fuck? Um, and my BMI is over 40, and he would recommend that I follow the process, whatever is needed to have the gastric bypass surgery, and that he would recommend it. He said it is a long process, so just know that it's a long process, and told me that I should look into seeing a nutritionalist as like the first step. So after that, I got home and I was like, okay, Sherry, you've tried everything. Anyone who knows me knows I've tried the gym. I've tried Orange Theory. I've tried Nutrisystem. I've tried Slim Fast. I've tried Weight Watchers. I've tried Optavia. I've tried keto. I've tried, and the truth is, do they work? They all work until you stop doing it. And then it all comes back and more. I even had a personal trainer for a while. I got down to my smallest. I was like, I don't know, 5 pounds shy of Wonderland. But literally, I was running every single day for about an hour on the treadmill. On the weekends, I would do a 4 mile run. I was working out like twice a day. I had a personal trainer that would give me a nutritional plan, and I was following it to a T. Like I was eating plain chicken breast and yogurt probably 6 times a day with spinach, no seasoning, and I had to do that in order to get down to almost getting to under 200. And once I felt good and I was like, yeah, this is working, and like I'm just gonna like cut back a little bit and like go to the gym maybe 4 days a week instead of 7 days a week, slowly kept creeping back. Right. So when it comes to trying different things, I know that I put in major effort. So I went home and I was like, okay, well, let's look into this bypass surgery thing. I never really thought it was an option because I thought, well, when you think of people who have gastric bypass, you're thinking they're like really huge. And when you physically just look at me, I mean, I'm overweight, definitely. um, Fat, whatever, but like fat in all the right places, fat. So um, you wouldn't think I would be like somebody who would actually qualify. But with pre-diabetes as like creeping up there and that running in my family, um, and getting up to almost 270 on the scale, it was like, okay, if I stay at this pace, this is just going to be disastrous. My dad's whole family is dead from diabetes issues and weight issues. Um, and this is just the road that I'm going to eventually be on if I don't figure out a solution that's going to be permanent and work. So I went home and I started pulling all my notes together of things that I've tried. And I was thinking 6 months is a long time. I cannot wait 6 months. If the if the procedure has to be 6 months, it has to be 6 months. But if I can prove through my research that I have done other things, nutritional things, whatever, that will count, maybe they will cut into some of that time instead of having to wait the 6 months. So I went ahead and looked through my drawers and I found a folder that I had when the doctor, maybe 2 years ago, had sent me to a medical weight loss place. And they prescribed me something like a lipo mix shot that had all kinds of like vitamin B in it and other things to boost your metabolism, and also put me on phentamine. And so I had all those records, some of the copies that they gave me. So I went down to their office, requested my medical records, and from 2021, and that showed that I did this with them for 7 months. I started at a BMI of like 40. I went down to like 39.4. And then by the time 7 months came, I was back up to 41 BMI. The phentamine didn't work after a while. What it would do, it would, curb your appetite. You wouldn't feel like eating. And then it would wean off by the end of the day. And at the end of the day, you wanted to eat everything. And so, again, that wasn't sustainable. So I got off the injections that I had to inject to myself, along with, you know, taking the phentamine. That wasn't working. But I had those records. So I went down there, got them to give me records, and I kept that in a file. And then I called a bariatric place. No, first I called my insurance to see if I would qualify. So I called them and I said, hey, my doctor thinks that I should have a bariatric surgery. Does that even have that policy available in my insurance? So they said yes. I asked them what the requirements are. They're like, well, there's no month that you have to wait, but you do have to have a BMI over 40 or under 40 with other issues, right? Other comorbidities like full diabetes. So pre-diabetic wouldn't count. Or I'd have to have real sleep apnea. I'd have to have real diabetes. I'd have to have something that was listed in there. I don't have any of those, even though I'm pre. So my over 40 BMI would be morbidly obese, and that would count. So I said, okay, good, I qualify. Um, I've called three doctors' offices because to get an appointments are just like they were pushing the appointments back to like February or call back in January. And I was really frustrated. So I decided to make appointments with three different clinics. I have one locally, like a private office bariatric. I went to Advent Health and also to Orlando Health and made appointments. It worked out with the scheduling that I was able to get an appointment first with Orlando Health, which I loved because they were super organized. They sent me an email right away of what I needed to do and to get to that appointment. There was like a pre-meeting that you could attend for free on a Tuesday, which I attended and asked my questions. And then I met with the doctor who I explained my story to. And he recommended either the sleeve or the gastric bypass. Because I already have stomach issues, and I know that I sometimes take a Pepsid or sometimes take like Tums and stuff because my stomach just doesn't agree with me anymore. I would rather have the bypass. And so he said he also agrees that would be very helpful to me. So that appointment was done. The next appointment that I had was a couple days after that, and it was like a nutritionist to kind of go over and talk about, what I have been eating right now. So I kind of had a virtual visit with her, kind of told her what I'm normally eating on a day, and she's like, "You're doing great. Those things should work." I gave her an idea of my good days. Everybody has their bad days of what crap they eat, but this was like a typical good day. And the only thing that she recommended on that list of what I already sent her that I normally eat is to cut back on the fat deli meats that I would eat. Like instead of buying like pepperoni and salami, which are like so delicious, to switch those with like turkey and chicken. And so I said, okay, well, we can make that change. Um, and I'm still hitting the gym every single day except for one day. So 6 days a week at the gym, but I'm not killing myself like I was originally when I lost all the weight before with running 4 miles or 2 hours of workouts and a second workout in the afternoon. I'm literally doing 15 minutes of cardio, 45 minutes of weight training, and taking my butt home. That way I don't get burned out, and that way I can do it every day and I don't feel stressed out. So I've been doing that since November, and she said continue to do that. So the next thing is awaiting all my paperwork from the doctors to like send for a pre-authorization. The first time I sent it, she said that I was missing 5 years of history that my doctor had sent over, but it was missing some years like in the history. And then I started to freak out. Like, if I'm missing years of history, does that like negate me from having the procedure because I don't have the history? Because there were some years that I was fat and I just didn't go to the doctor. Like, I don't need him to tell me that I'm fat at the doctor. I feel fine. I'm fat and fine. And I will just do me until I have an issue, like my asthma kicks in or something hurts. And then I'll go and then I'll get weight. So those 2 years that I didn't, I think it was like 2018 and 2020 that I didn't, it wasn't that I was all of a sudden a healthy weight. It was just, I just didn't go. Um, and she made it seem like it was a problem, like that would stop me from getting qualified. So I started to freak out again. So I went ahead and followed through with my other appointments at Advent Health and did their group session where you can ask questions. And I literally asked those questions today. And I said, I have two questions for you. The first question I have is, if I don't have the weight history for, let's say, 5 years of documenting that I'm over 40 BMI, is that going to stop insurance from covering my procedure because I don't have that history? I just have the most recent visit that shows a 40 over 40 BMI, and some of my older visits that show severely obese, maybe not the 40 BMI, maybe like 38 or 39. And I also have over 40 when I did a medical weight loss thing, but I don't have consistently. I wasn't 40 BMI for 5 years, right? And he said, no, that won't have an issue, that it goes by your BMI right now from this first consultation. So anything that you were before doesn't really matter. And it shouldn't, because like if you were doing things before that was extreme, then you lost weight and then you went to the doctor, it would show a lower BMI. So the fact that it's not sustainable is why you're back in this situation, is because it didn't work. So having a lower BMI at certain points on your chart makes sense, right? We all know, like, we diet, we lose weight, and then we stop doing what we said we're doing, and then we gain back even more than we did before. And anybody who deals with weight issues knows that. Like, I am fatter now than all the times I've tried to lose weight before. And it keeps adding and keeps adding. And so if I try something else that's not going to work again, I'm not going to be 300 pounds. Lord Jesus, we're trying to avoid that, right? So he said no. And then the next question I asked was, because I have a 40, let's say 42 BMI right now, and I just had the visit with the nutritionist, and she's trying to have me change some of my poor habits that I have. The workout part I got down, the drinking water fine I got down, but making some of these food choices and actually tracking calories and seeing how much I'm actually putting in, which to me, all my excess is snacking. I don't count my snacks, I count my food and then don't count the snacks, and then before you know it, you're over. If I start to do some of those things and my BMI drops down to 39, do I not qualify because I've started to follow what you told me to follow, and now I'm under the 40 and then it doesn't qualify? So I had all these questions that were just like, do I try? Do I go have a slice of pizza because I got to keep the 40? Like, what's going on? So I asked him that question today as well, and he was like, no, it only counts for this first one. In fact, if you can go ahead and do some of the things now when you get below, that's even better for the procedure because you'll be healthier for the procedure. So I was like, okay, let's have that salad then. I don't need to eat that pizza because if I go under 40, it counts from the first visit. It also counts from my doctor's visit before he sent me, which also shows the BMI over 40. I think it was 41.8 at the time. So this is where I am now. I have a whole folder of things I've tried and didn't work. Prior to going to the doctor this time, I also did something called Optavia, which also works. I lost about 20 pounds with that, but I had to buy these special meals, these little packets of like powdered food that I would have like 6 times a day, and it would be like less than 100 calories or 100 calories every time, 6 times a day. And at the end of the day, you would have like a salad with some chicken, right? And I did that to lose like 20 pounds. But after you stop buying these little packets of food, which were very expensive, like I think every month it was like about $400, and you started eating some things that were not on there, there you go, it all comes back. So right now I'm kind of a sitting duck until about next week, I think. They should have my authorization from my insurance by the 10th, I'm thinking. If not, on the 10th, I will call my insurance and be like, hey, you guys had this pre-authorization sentence since, the 23rd of, say, January, and it's been 14 days. Like, what's going on? Give me my code so I can have them start this process. So that's what I'm dealing with, that wait period right now. In the meantime, I have other appointments I have set up is because I have to see the nutritionist person for 3 months since my insurance didn't have like a date. They had the minimum, which is three months of visits. So I just had the first one. I have another one on the 22nd, and then I'll do one in March, and I should be able to be all cleared by April. Now, because of the scare that I got from the email that she said that I didn't have the weight history, I started to freak out, and I started to go and be proactive with trying to figure out what other things can qualify for that. So when I went to the Advent Health website from the visit to the doctor, he mentioned that he has a website that has what they require at Advent Health in order to have the procedure. And one of the first things they require, which they say takes the longest, is a letter of support from your PCP, which is your primary. So I was like, whew, okay. Orlando Health didn't ask for anything like that yet, but I don't want to have to do all this. And then they're like, oh, now you need to go get your letter from your doctor. Like, let's be proactive with that. Since another hospital requires it, it's quite possible that your hospital, also in Orlando, also requires it. So I went to the Advent, I printed out their letter of support template. I contacted my PCP. I sent him a long email with all my documentation of everything I've done because some of this stuff was not in his office, so he won't have that documentation. So from the one he referred me to, plus the Optavia that I was doing and all the printouts of all the products and things I bought online, put that into an email, sent it to his office, and requested that I get that letter for support. Plus, he's the one that said I should probably have it done, so he supports it. Um, so all right, sorry. I apologize. I got cut off. My son makes videos on this site on my phone and keeps up all my battery. All right, I digress. Um, so where I am now is I'm waiting for my doctor to do the letter of support. So I have that because that's a requirement at Advent Health. I've already met my Orlando Health doctor through the group session, plus also on a one-on-one. I have a one-on-one Friday with the Advent Health doctor. Which one I'll get to talk to both and kind of fill them both out and their process out. Um, and then I have to check back with the insurance on the 10th to make sure everything goes through, or if they require something else, I already have that letter in place if that's part of their requirement. And that's where we are. My goal, my ideal situation goal for this is that my last visit with the nutritionist part would be in March. By then, I will already have the psychological evaluation done and any other things they request prior to that. And hopefully a surgery date after this pre-authorization, like an idea surgery date sometime in April. And so, fingers crossed, all that works out. Again, continue to go to the gym, continue to try to eat better, get sleep. I also ordered some vitamin patches to start using. I know your hair is gonna thin out. You know, I'll put a wig on. We'll be okay until it grows back the way it's supposed to be. But I thought, let me go ahead and start taking my iron now, my biotin now. I already take multivitamins, and so let's go ahead and just double up on that and kind of start doing that now so that the decline of it will be less. So that's where I am. Any questions, I will answer. I will try to make another one of these after the 10th to let you know what my updates are. And talk to you guys soon. Bye.